I'm talking today about the dangers of using tobacco products, and that includes vaping devices. Throughout this presentation, if you could stay on mute, I would greatly appreciate it. But if you have questions, I love questions, just please type them into the chat and we'll get to the questions at the end of the presentation. So throughout this presentation, we're going to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to talk about different types of tobacco products. We're going to talk about some of the dangers of using these products. We're going to talk about how the media and the tobacco companies try to influence young adults into trying these products. And then we're going to talk about some things young adults can do to say no if someone is trying to pressure them into trying these products. All right. So we'll start with the reason why they pay me to do this presentation. We know that tobacco use is the single most preventable cause of disease, disability, and death in the United States. Tobacco use kills a lot of people. Unfortunately, it doesn't always happen instantly or right away. And so because of that, people truly underestimate how dangerous it is. And so today I'm hoping that you guys will learn information on some of the dangers to the body so that you can make the best choice for your body and to reduce some of the disabilities and early death potentially that could happen if you're using these products. All right. So before I start, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Today, we're talking about tobacco, and tobacco is a plant. It's a plant that grows all over the world wherever conditions are right. Now, one of the chemicals in the tobacco plant is called nicotine. Nicotine is tobacco plant's natural bug poison. It keeps bugs from eating it so that the plant can continue to grow. But we're not bugs, right? So when nicotine gets into our system, it goes straight to our brain and it tricks our brain into thinking that we need it. It's what we call addiction. Nicotine is highly addictive, and nicotine is in every single tobacco product. And so throughout this presentation, you're going to hear me say tobacco a whole lot, and you're going to hear me say the word nicotine a lot. I just want to make sure everyone knows they're two different words, and they mean two different things, but please do remember that nicotine comes from the tobacco plant, all right? So with that, we'll get started with the different types of tobacco products. We'll start with the types of tobacco products that are smoked. Those are the oldest, most common forms. Those include things like cigarettes, cigars, pipes, and hookahs. Cigarettes, you can see them on your screen. Most people have seen a cigarette. You know someone who smokes, or you've seen one on the ground. But basically, cigarettes are tobacco leaves that have been dried or processed with thousands of chemicals, and then they're wrapped in a special type of paper that's white. They can be hand rolled, they can be manufactured. Sometimes they have a filter, which you can see on your screen, on them, and sometimes they don't. Cigars, kind of the same thing. It's tobacco leaves that have been dried and processed with a whole bunch of chemicals. Some flavorings have been added to some cigars, but the difference between cigars and cigarettes is that the outside of cigar is actually tobacco leaf. So since cigars are tobacco, essentially wrapped in tobacco, they have much more nicotine than a regular cigarette, making them much more addictive. They have almost 3 times as much nicotine as a regular cigarette. So they are highly addictive as well. Now, I talk to a lot of people and people will say, I know so-and-so, they use cigars, but they don't inhale. Unfortunately, I don't always buy that people are not breathing it into their lungs, but even if for some reason you are able to do that, you're still pulling all of these toxins into your mouth, and they get absorbed through the lining of the mouth. So all of the dangers that we're going to talk about to the body from using tobacco products, you can still get those if you are a cigar user and you truly are not inhaling. You're still breathing it into your mouth. On your screen, you're going to see some loose leaf tobacco and some pipes. A pipe, we're not going to talk a lot about pipes, just know that it's a tobacco product. Not a lot of young adults use that, and so I would prefer to spend my time on other products. But it's tobacco product and it's not safe for you either. Hookah. I do want to spend a few moments on hookah because it's at the top of my hate list right now. Hookah is a water pipe, and these water pipes, they don't look so bad. Some of them are really cute. Some are tall, some are big, some are super colorful, but basically hookahs are water pipes that help get nicotine into your system, right? So using a hookah, you place tobacco at the top of it. It's heated by a piece of charcoal that creates some smoke. The smoke goes down to the bottom of the water chamber, and the water chamber, which is filled with water, cools the smoke off so that the user can breathe in the smoke without burning the inside of their body. Now, some things with hookah. We know that 1 hour of using hookah is the same as smoking 100 cigarettes. That's a lot of toxins that you're exposed to. And a lot of people go to these hookah bars, or they're sitting at people's house and they're using these hookah for hours on end. But just know 1 hour is equivalent to smoking about 100 cigarettes. Some other things, the tubes that connect the mouthpiece to the water pipe, there's no standardized way on when those are cleaned, how they're cleaned. If you're using them in public, there's bacteria in any place. There's bacteria growing in them because there's warm, moist air going through there. And so if they're not cleaned properly, you run the risk of getting bacteria being deposited directly into your lungs, which increases your odds of getting things like tuberculosis and other lung diseases and disorders. And so again, they are not safe. The mouthpieces people share. In public, they may give you your attachment, individually wrapped attachment, but you're still attaching it to a larger mouthpiece. And as a result, you can spread things like the common cold, the flu, COVID, herpes. You can spread, or you can get those things from using these products. And then the last thing about hookah, like I said earlier, it's heated by a piece of charcoal. So not only are you breathing in all of the toxins from the tobacco, you're breathing in the toxins from charcoal. That's heavy metals and other chemicals that should not be in our lungs. So regardless of the type of tobacco product that we talk about today, just know that there is no safe tobacco product. They are all dangerous products, okay? So we're going to move on and talk about smokeless tobacco products and dissolvable tobacco products. That includes things like snuff, snus, and chewing tobacco. Tobacco companies are getting very crafty with the products that they make because they know that more and more places are becoming smoke-free. It's getting harder to smoke. They have a ton of different products. Doesn't mean that these products are safe, right? To get around some of these smoking bans. With smokeless tobacco, snuff or chewing tobacco can come like you see in the middle of your screen in the green can. It can come like a fine print, a fine like particles. It's basically tobacco leaves, some chemicals, some flavorings that have been either ground up, they've been processed. They can come like what you see, they can come bricked or shredded. However they come, you take it out of the can, you put it in your mouth, and it sits between your cheek and your jaw. Nicotine and all of those toxins are absorbed through the lining of your mouth. Snuff and snus come in pouches like you see on the screen. Make it a little easier. You don't have to manually take out a pinch and put it in your mouth, but it's still the same concept, still the same thing. Snus is a little bit newer on the market. With snus, they say not as much saliva is created, so they tell you don't even have to spit it out. You can just swallow it. There are some newer products that aren't on your screen. They're called nicotine pouches. They're being marketed as tobacco-free. The thing with these pouches is that they're made with synthetic nicotine, which is nicotine that's made in a lab. But synthetic nicotine acts the same way nicotine from a tobacco plant does. And so they're still not safe for you. They still include a lot of chemicals that are dangerous to the body. And we're going to talk about those chemicals in just a few moments. And so you're still exposed to a lot of dangerous chemicals and a lot of danger in your body. Dissolvable tobacco products are not as popular here in the state of Texas, but just so you know what they are, it's tobacco leaves that have been ground up, processed with chemicals and flavorings, and then they mold it into a shape. On your screen, you can see what pellets look like. It can come in the shape of sticks or strips, but basically people put it in their mouth, let it dissolve on their tongue, and then they swallow everything. So again, not safe for you. You're putting tobacco and all of those chemicals directly into your digestive tract. So next I have a video that I want to show you. And if you guys have any problems with the sound or you can't hear it, please let me know. But I'm going to play the video. It's two different videos. One is going to talk about some of the dangers to your mouth from using tobacco products. And the second one is going to talk about tar. So I'll let those play and then I'll come back. This is what smokeless tobacco, cigarettes, and other tobacco products do to your mouth. Notice that the teeth aren't pearly white. Smoking or using snuff or dip can stain your teeth this yellowish brownish color. See these cavities? Tobacco has caused these teeth to decay. Smoking and using snuff or dip can also lead to sores on the gums or gum disease, like here, where the gums are all red and irritated. If you have really bad gum disease, your teeth may fall out. That's why Mr. Grossmouth is missing a tooth. Smoking and using other tobacco products also increases your risk for mouth cancer. You can get cancer here on the gums or under the tongue. You can also get cancer on the roof of your mouth or even on the tongue itself. You don't want a mouth like Mr. Grossmouth. Don't smoke, vape, or use dip or snuff. Remember, there is no safe form of tobacco. All right, one more video. This is a jar of tar. Tar is a sticky black substance created when chemicals are burnt and melt together. Tar is also created and inhaled when you smoke cigarettes. And yes, it's the same tar used to build roads. You don't want this sticky substance in your lungs. It stains the lungs a blackish brown color and damages them. Tar in your lungs may lead to lung cancer, emphysema, or other lung problems that can make it hard to breathe. The amount of tar in this jar is the same amount that would go into your lungs if you smoked 10 cigarettes a day for 1 year. Imagine all that sticky tar in your lungs. Remember, there is no safe form of tobacco. All right, so I just wanted you guys to see that. Just know that with that Mr. Grossmouth and all the damage that can happen to your mouth, the same thing can happen to your mouth from using vaping devices, which we're going to talk about right now. So quick question before I start. Give me a thumbs up virtually or through the emotions if you think that most e-cigarettes contain nicotine. Thumbs up if you think most e-cigs have nicotine in them. So I can't really see what everybody is doing, but if you gave me a thumbs up, you're absolutely correct. Most e-cigarettes do contain nicotine, and they actually contain a lot of nicotine. So let's talk a little bit about e-cigarettes. We'll start with what they're called. They go by a ton of different names. Some people call them water vapes, vaping devices, e-cigs, e-cigarettes, Juuls, puff bars, e-mods, e-hookahs. The list goes on and on. They go by a ton of different names, but they're all the same thing. They are battery-operated devices that heat a liquid nicotine into an aerosol. Because there's liquid nicotine in these vaping devices, it's a tobacco product, and a lot of young adults don't think they're tobacco products, but they are because nicotine comes from tobacco, right? So they are tobacco products. Not only do they contain nicotine, these vaping devices have way more nicotine than regular cigarettes. Juul, for example, one pot of Juul has the same amount of nicotine as 20 cigarettes. That's a whole pack. Some of these disposable tobacco products, like the puff bars and the elf bars, and I think they changed their name a little bit on some of them, but they have 5, 6, 7, sometimes 8 times the amount of nicotine as a regular cigarette. They are extremely addictive, right? We know that they're not safe. Not only does that nicotine affect your brain by making it addicted, it also impacts your brain by changing or slowing your brain development. So if you're under the age of 25, 26 years old, your brain is still developing, you're still growing. But if you use these products, these vaping devices and other nicotine products, you change that brain development. And that means you make it harder for yourself to learn new things. You make it harder to regulate your mood and your emotions. You increase the odds of getting anxiety or depression. You know, mental health is very important, especially for a lot of people these days. They're very conscious of their mental health. If you're vaping or using these products, you make it harder to keep your mental health under control. It really does increase the anxiety and depression in people. Not only does it contain nicotine in those, vaping devices contain a lot of different flavors, and these flavors we know are dangerous. The flavors, they may sound okay, like mango or whatever, sunrise, and people think that, oh, it can't be that bad, it's mango flavored. But those flavorings were never designed to go into our lungs. They were designed to enhance the flavor of food. Vaping devices don't smell bad. Those chemicals that make things smell good, they were never designed to go directly into our lungs. They were designed to be used in like car air fresheners and things like that. So when you put these flavorings directly into your lungs, they scar your lungs, they inflame your lungs, they fill it with pus and other fluids that should not be there. So even though you may not feel like you're hurting your body, if you're using these vaping devices, you are hurting your body. All right. That we also know that most people, most young adults who start, experimenting with vaping devices become addicted to it. And eventually they go over to using other types of tobacco products like cigarette smokes or other types. So they are a gateway to using other tobacco products as well. They are not safe products. All right. So I mentioned chemicals earlier, and we're going to talk about some of the chemicals. And just know in one cigarette, there are more than 2,000 chemicals. That's before you light it. Once you light it on fire, those 2,000 chemicals turn into over 5,000 new chemicals. So one cigarette has over 7,000 chemicals. And a lot of those chemicals are used in all tobacco products, vaping devices, hookahs, cigars. The reason why is that tobacco companies know that these chemicals that they add increase the speed at which nicotine gets to your brain. So when someone puffs on a cigarette, nicotine goes from their mouth to their lungs, to their heart, to their brain in 7 seconds. Tobacco companies want that nicotine in your body in 7 seconds or less, and those chemicals help get it there. So they're in every single tobacco product. Some of those chemicals include things that you see on your screen, like formaldehyde, which is found in embalming fluid or glue, acetone, which is found in nail polish. We'll go through a couple other chemicals, not all 7,000 because we don't have time, but we'll talk about a couple other ones. So nicotine. I already mentioned earlier that nicotine is a natural bug poison. It's a fantastic insecticide. It's so good they put it in regular common household bug killers. Ammonia is a chemical that's used in toilet bowl cleaners and other household cleaners that is also found in tobacco products, not just cigarettes, but tobacco products. Methanol, which is used to make rocket fuel, also found in tobacco products. Carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide comes from the exhaust on our cars or from chimney smoke. Carbon monoxide is horrible. It blocks our lungs' ability to take in oxygen. And so if you can't breathe, if you can't get oxygen, then you can't breathe. Carbon monoxide is horrible, and it has a major impact on the lungs. Arsenic, the main ingredient in rat poison, is also found in tobacco products. Methane, which is found in animal manure and sewer gas, that is used in tobacco products. And butane, which is used to make lighter fluid. So again, a ton of different chemicals. We're not going to go through all of them. Just know that every single tobacco product contains a whole lot of other chemicals that are also dangerous to your body, right? So what can happen in the body as a result of using these products? One, we know that smoking and vaping increases your risk for heart disease. Nicotine is a stimulant. It speeds up your heart. And so that has a long-term effect on you, increasing your risk for heart attack, high blood pressure, strokes. It does a lot of damage in the heart. Lung diseases, you run the risk of getting various diseases like emphysema or COPD if you're using these products, worsening asthma attacks, things like that. When people get a little older and young ladies start having babies, if they're using these tobacco products, they run the risk that their babies are born at a lower weight. And then cancer. We know that almost 80% of all lung cancer cases are attributed to someone using tobacco products. And almost 30% of all lung cancer deaths, of all deaths from cancer, not just lung cancer, 30% of all cancer, 30% of all deaths from cancer are attributed to using these products, all right? So they do a lot of damage in the body. All right, let's talk about cancer for a minute. So I don't know if everyone has learned in their classes what our body does, but our body is made up of cells. We're full of healthy cells. If you have an abnormal or unhealthy cell that starts to grow uncontrollably, that is when cancers start to rise. So we have tons of cells in our body, right? We have hair cells, we have skin cells, we have cells to make our nose, our heart, our blood. We got tons of cells. So cancer's not one disease. It's not a single disease. It's a group of more than 100 diseases because we have hundreds of different types of cells in our body. But if you are using tobacco products, you increase the odds of getting 13 specific types of cancers. There are others, but these are directly linked to using tobacco products. Lung cancer, I mentioned a moment ago that almost 80% of all lung cancer cases are attributed to using tobacco products. which, you know, is preventable, but you're also increasing the odds that you get cancers in the cervix, the mouth, your throat, your esophagus, your pancreas, your kidney, your bladder, your nose, your sinus cavities. You can get cancer in your stomach from using these products. They are not safe products at all to use, all right? So now I have a video that I would like to show about our lungs. I have a healthy set of lungs, and I'm going to show you what a smoker's lungs look like. So I'll show the video, and then we'll talk about it on the other side. Here we go. Take a look at these two sets of lungs. This set is pink and healthy. They represent the lungs of a healthy person. But this set doesn't look so great. They represent the lungs of someone who has smoked a pack of cigarettes, that's 20 cigarettes, every day for 20 years. Let's take a closer look at what's happening in the healthy lungs. They're being inflated with air, just like when we breathe. As they fill up with air, both lungs expand like they should and push oxygen into your bloodstream. We need oxygen for our body to work. When we breathe, air passes through our nose or mouth into our trachea or windpipe. In the trachea, air passes cilia. Those are tiny hairs that keep dirt and mucus out of the lungs. From the trachea, air passes into two large tubes. Each tube splits off into many smaller tubes. At the end of these smaller tubes is a cluster of tiny air sacs. There are over 600 million air sacs in our lungs. Imagine how small they must be. Each air sac is covered in small blood vessels that take the blood directly to your heart. The oxygenated blood goes directly to your heart, and your heart pumps it to all the cells in your body. Now, back to the smoker's lungs. These represent the lungs of someone who smoked for 20 years. These lungs are a blackish brown color because of the tar that comes from each cigarette. Tar is a sticky black substance that is created when some chemicals burn and melt together. The tar created by burning tobacco is similar to the tar that is used on roads. Tar in your lungs may lead to lung problems that can make it hard to breathe. Even though vaping doesn't force tar into your lungs, it does cause your lungs to get inflamed and clogged with blood, pus, and other fluids. The chemicals in cigarettes also cause lung cancer. If you look here, lung cancers have started to form. They start in the cells that line the surface of the lungs, like this white area. The lower portion of this lung doesn't inflate. That is what lung diseases like COPD and emphysema look like. People with these diseases find it hard to breathe, and they struggle with even the smallest, easiest activities like walking. Which set of lungs would you like working for you? The choice seems pretty clear. All right, so I like showing that video. I love doing this presentation in person because I have these lungs, they're real lungs, and I like to show them to people in person. They look a little bit different, the same, but a little different, but they make a big impact. At the end of the day, if you're using tobacco products, you can't take your lungs out and see what you're doing to your lungs. You just don't know, right? And so you don't know what kind of damage you're doing to your body. So like I said earlier, you may not feel anything until you feel something. And at that point, then you have to try to get yourself healthy again and deal with whatever you have. But you just don't know how much damage you're doing inside your body if you're using these products. All right, so we'll switch gears and talk about secondhand smoke. Another question, give me a thumbs up if you think secondhand smoke causes asthma. Give me a thumbs up if you think secondhand smoke can cause asthma. Well, if you gave me a thumbs up, you're absolutely right. Not only can secondhand smoke increase your risk of worsening asthma attacks, it increases your risk for various breathing problems, lung cancer, heart disease, heart attacks, ear infections, stroke, even death. We know that almost 50,000 Americans who don't smoke die every year as a result of being around someone's secondhand smoke. Now, secondhand smoke is a smoke that is exhaled into the air by a smoker. It comes from cigarettes, pipes, cigars, and hookah. Vaping does not create a smoke, so they don't call what you breathe a secondhand smoke. They call it secondhand emissions. We know in the secondhand emissions from vaping devices that they have found heavy metal particles, they found formaldehyde particles, they found nicotine particles, they found benzene, they found a lot of different chemicals in there. So even if you're around someone who's vaping and you're not, you're still breathing in chemicals that are dangerous for you. And so we encourage everyone to stay away from someone who's smoking and stay away from someone who's vaping, because you're putting dangerous chemicals into your body. All right. So why do people even start using these products? We know that most people, most adults became regular smokers by the time they were 18 years old. Tobacco companies bank on young adults trying these products. They spend a lot of money. They spend a lot of money, millions of dollars a day, to try to get young adults to believe some of the things you see on the screen here. For instance, so try to get you to believe that it's a rite of passage, or it's how you look like a mature adult, or that you've transitioned into adulthood. That's absolutely not true. It doesn't make you look more mature or like an adult. It really just makes you look like you're making a bad decision. They'll try to get you to believe that it's attractive. They pay people on social media. They have influencers. They pay to put it in movies. They pay to put it in video games and all these places, to get you to believe that it's what you got to do to get liked or to have a lot of followers. It's not attractive. It actually does a lot of damage to your body. All right. They pay a lot of money to try to get you to believe that it's normal. Like I said, they pay to have these products in movies. They pay to have these products in music videos, in video games. They pay so that you guys will think that it's a normal thing to do, when the reality is it's not normal and not everyone is using it. So don't feel like you have to use it just because you think everyone is using it. The reality is they're not. They spend a lot of money trying to get you to believe that it's safe. They have this whole narrative that they've spun around vaping, that, oh, it's safer than smoking. Well, for a lot of young adults, they don't quite get that safer is not the same word as safe. So let me give you guys an example. I could tell you that it is safer for you to jump off of a 100-foot building versus a 300-foot building. And that's true. But what will happen to you if you jump off of a 100-foot building? You're not going to walk away from that, right? It's not a safe thing to do. Same thing with vaping. It is not safe for you to do. There is no safe tobacco product. So I don't care what anybody else says about it, just know that they are all dangerous for your body. Lastly, they'll try to get you to believe that it's how you relax, or it's how you deal with stress or stressors in your life. There are hundreds of things you can do to help you relax, hundreds of healthy things you can do to deal with stress. Using these tobacco products creates more stress for you. They take away from your relaxation. And so find healthy ways to deal with stress and healthy ways to relax. All right, we'll switch gears and talk about some of the legal aspects of using these products. So give me a thumbs up if you think it's illegal to possess or to use tobacco products, including vaping devices, if you're younger than 21 years old. Thumbs up if you think it's illegal to have if you're under the age of 21. If you gave me a thumbs up, you're absolutely right. It is illegal for you to have it, right? It's illegal for you to be caught with it on your person. It's illegal for you to be using it. You're not supposed to have it at all, right? If you are outside of school and you get caught with these products, you can be fined up to $100. You may have to attend a tobacco awareness program. You may have to do some form of community service, and your parents may have to do these as well. So they will not be happy, I assure you. If you are inside of school, Texas just passed a new bill that started September 1. If you get caught with vaping devices inside of school, whether you're holding it for someone or using it, they send you immediately to alternative school. Okay, they give you the same punishment that they give someone who is bringing drugs or alcohol to school. It's immediate. And so it is not, you don't want to get caught with these products on school campus. Even if you're at a school sponsored event and it's off campus, if they catch you, the school can send you to alternative school, right? So it's not worth it. We hope that you guys don't think that it's worth it. Especially the legal aspects of it, as well as all of the harm that it can do to your body. All right, last thing. What do you do if someone is trying to get you to try these products, but you really don't want to? So one of the best things you can do is never put yourself in any situation where you already know you're going to be pressured. For instance, if your friends are talking and they're like, we're going to the park at 4 o'clock, we're going to try this jewel, don't go to the park at 4 o'clock. Like, you already know what's going to happen. Don't even put yourself in that situation to have to say no, okay? If you find yourself in a situation, there are some things that you can do. One, leave. You don't have to stay there. You can just go somewhere else. You don't even have to say anything. If you feel like you must say something, you can always make up an excuse. I have some on the screen. You just want to make it a believable excuse, and then you want to get out of there, okay? You can always just say no. You can use a simple rejection. No, no, thank you. It doesn't have to be mean. It doesn't have to be rude, but you do want to make sure that you are assertive. You want people to know that you mean business when you say no. You can use self-statements like, I've got way too much going on for myself for that. You can talk about the consequences. I tell people when I show my lungs, you got the best, those healthy lungs and those smokers' lungs. Those are the best consequence you can tell someone, like, I saw these lungs that I don't ever want my lungs to look like. Talk about some of the consequences that can happen to your body, or financially, or legally. Talk about the consequences. And keep saying no over and over again. If you keep saying it, you become like a broken record, and eventually they're going to stop asking you because they already know what your answer is going to be. And lastly, know that there is strength in numbers. Hang out with people that don't use these products. A lot of times it's easier for you and your friends to say, we don't do that, versus you by yourself having to say, I don't do that. So no, just know that not everyone uses these products. So hang out with people that don't use these products. Now, if you have a friend that is already using these vaping devices and they're already addicted, but they stated that they want to stop using them, there is free anonymous text message help with quitting. If you text Vape Free Texas to 88709, you can get free help. It's through your cell phone, text message. It's free. And again, it's anonymous. So you can take a picture of this if you want. You can share it with whomever, if you guys want me to send you a copy of this, I will be more than happy to email a copy of it to you guys. So we talked about a lot of things, right? I gave you a whole lot of information in a short amount of time. If you don't remember or take away anything that I've said today, please just take away the fact that there is no safe tobacco product, and that includes vaping devices, all right? And so we want you to take care of your health. You only get this one body. You only get this one set of lungs. If you destroy it, you just destroy it, all right? So the last thing I have is a survey. I'm gonna put there's a QR code if you are not on your computer, and you can use your cell phone. Go ahead and use that. There's a website. I'm going to try to drop it in the chat in just a moment. You can click on the link when we're done and take the survey. I would greatly appreciate it.